Precept number 15. You must make plans. Therefore, in preparing for what you shall do in your life, you must outline plans for courses of action by writing out possibilities for what you may do. Then you must compare these possibilities based on the following questions. Number 1. Which is the most moral course of action? The more moral your course, the less likely you are to run into karmic situations which will unhorse you from your spiritually higher and higher standards in life. Number 2. Which course of action requires the least amount of care in order to be successful? The less care you need to enact a plan properly, the less stressed your mind will be with all of the considerations you must make. Number 3. What situations will you face such that you will need to employ higher awarenesses? The less situations you put yourself through that involve a lot of business and active details, the less awareness you actually need to employ. This also is a consideration for the level of stress put upon your mind by what you are doing. Number 4. How much self-control will each course of action take? In other words, you must weigh how much your self-control is required so that you are balanced between being free to act and being bound by your own rules. The more you restrict yourself, the less chance you have to adapt to changing situations. The less you restrict yourself, the freer you are to act, but the less strength you have to oppose what situations try to inflict upon you spiritually. Question number 5. Which course of action suits your beliefs the best? Your beliefs should be mutable to some extent so that you can learn from life when it sends a spiritual lesson your way. On the other hand, each course of action may or may not suit your existing beliefs, which means you either need to select a course of actions that suits your beliefs best or else change your beliefs. Since your belief structure is in the domain of your self-control, it shouldn't be appealing to change your beliefs, but it shouldn't be impossible for you either. The key is balance. Precept number 16. Select a plan of action. By choosing the courses of action which are most moral and take the least care, awareness, self-control, and changing of your beliefs to be successful, you will slowly but surely achieve spiritual mastery through practice. Precept 17. Be prepared for a hard journey. Spiritual mastery is no light affair. If you are unaccustomed to rigorously performing in the ways described in this reading, you will be worried and hesitant in situations that demand courage. If you are not thoroughly self-trained, you will inevitably experience fear and apprehension when life's situations are challenging for you, such as in the case of confrontation. Precept 18. Do not go easy on yourself, but do not be overly harsh either. A spiritually enlightened approach of self-mastery means that neither self-reproach nor self-praise should be excessive at any time. Precept 19. Making predictions. By slowly but surely mastering what has been put forth here, your ability at predicting the proper course of action will rise above having to sit down and plan everything on a computer, screen, or piece of paper. Over time, your mind, provided your brain and body are in a healthy condition from being treated right, will adjust to this process automatically, and you will be able to do these things in a series of quick and concise thoughts. Precept 20. Make a choice of being a spiritual master and adhere to it. Do not waver between wanting to be a spiritual master and deciding it's not for you. Decide now. Show yourself you have the strength of will. Precept 21. Create and manifest your dreams. Never trample on your positive dreams with your rational intellect. Always allow them to exist, no matter what your inner censor thinks of them. Laugh it off. They pose you no threat by existing, but by trampling on your positive dreams, you exemplify inner discord, weakness, and a lack of powerful desire, for they must have been weak enough to be restrained. Always act in expedience, in accordance with what is advantageous, and so control the balance of events so that they play out in your favor. Precept 22. Deception is not always immoral. Reality is an illusion sent to us by God. God Himself employs illusions upon us to create spiritual lessons which condition us in our lives. Life itself is a form of illusion. All you believe is a form of illusion. All you put faith in, even your very perceptions and your senses, are illusions. Deceiving others through clever tactics means not violating the golden rule. First, you must accept that you allow yourself to be deceived by the experience of life, so you are okay with being deceived yourself. In this way, you do not violate the golden rule by deceiving others, provided you do it in a clever way. Since you do not want to be lied to, do not lie to others. But you can still withhold information you do not feel like sharing, and choose your words carefully so that those receiving them are led by their own mistaken assumptions to believe you are saying something other than what you are really saying. You must take utmost care not to trespass upon others and thus incur negative karma into your life, for then you will simply be put in the same situation that you put into others, which is a negative situation. Karma functions by making you feel as you have made others feel. Karma encourages you to love and grow in courage through either positive or negative experiences, depending on what you have done to others in the past. But you always have a choice, with free will, of shrinking away from these spiritual lessons in fear and selfishness instead. The key to deception is child's play, most literally. It is a playing pretend, in words too foreign a feeling, a state, or a non-existent injury. The better you are at acting, the more you can believe in what you are acting and become it. The more you become what you are pretending to be, the less deceptive you are really being on the outside. For your consciousness of the deception becomes subconscious for a time. Precept 23. Some ideas of deception include: when you are capable of activity in ways, feign incapacity in those ways. When you are capable of being active, feign like you are only capable of being inactive. When you are near to the objects of your desire, feign as though you are far away from them. When you are far away from the objects of your desire, feign as though you are near to them. When your desire is centered on the cooperation of another person or persons, offer them a bait of some kind that you know that they desire. Act as though you are in disorder, meaning without a plan of mind, and seize upon the moment of opportunity to get from them what you want by drawing forth their compliance and admiration. Pretend you are inferior to people who are involved in your plans. Always be meek, understanding, sympathetic, empathetic, and humble. This encourages the arrogance of others around you who lack their own self-control. It draws out their weaknesses and vulnerabilities when they try to lord themselves over you. If they do not react in this way, you know they are at least somewhat trustworthy individuals. Sometimes it is far wiser to concede to another's demands so they think they have won over you, so they will not expect that your next course of action will engage in something that achieves your objective. Be prepared to concede anything of lesser value than the objects of your desire. Sometimes it is wise to concede 2 small victories to your opponent. Then at the third demand, surprise them with a sudden change of character and boldness, but always with meekness. Precept 24. When others are resistant to your efforts, resist them when they are vulnerable. If they are not vulnerable, find a way to make them vulnerable. When others concentrate their efforts against you and try to stop you from doing what you are trying to accomplish, make preparations as soon as you become aware of their opposition as to what you will do to deal with their efforts. When others show persistent, strong resistance to your efforts, avoid them altogether. Find another way. Do not waste your energies trying to swim against the current that opposes you. When the resistance your opponent provides is moderate, try the following. Without violating the golden rule, do something which angers your opponent. For anger confuses the opposition in their moment of rage. A bad-tempered opponent is easily upset and loses their self-control when angry. Do not insult others, for that violates the golden rule. There are always things you can say to an angry person which imply or suggest something without actually saying it. In this case, it is they who are jumping to erroneous conclusions which will lead them to anger. A bad-tempered person's character is not firm and is subject to wavering. By inspiring anger in someone else, they will become reckless and act against you without proper planning in mind. This gives you the advantage of having the moral high ground by remaining cool and composed. Do not engage in violence. That violates the golden rule. You may defend yourself from attack, physically or verbal, but you may not unnecessarily disable, injure, or kill the attacker. The best defense of all is to retreat from the attacker, thus showing them to be a crazed animal and you a sensible human being. Retreat does not necessarily suggest a lack of courage. Sometimes being too afraid of your own dishonor to retreat is the fearful course, rather than actually retreating. To anger an opponent who is relaxed and or at ease, another tactic is to strain them with gentle, non-violent resistance. Use the word of power often, which is no, but meekly, never in arrogant opposition. Exhaust your opponent's mind when they try to resist you with their words by logically countering those words with sound rebuttal that calls upon them to once again respond over and over. Precept 25. Divide and conquer. When an opponent is utterly resistant to you because they are composed and cool, say something which is true, yet defies their beliefs as you understand them. If you have chosen your words carefully and have truly been logical in your statement, the one opposing you will experience inner division between their feelings of composure and cool calm and the sensation that their rational intellect is struggling with the data you have introduced to them. Before they return to a cool and calm state, pose more questions to them which weaken their resolve by not giving them time to think through what they are processing. Always remain meek and humble. Becoming egotistical in your manner will only engender their immediate refusal of all you have said, and they will return to being calm. When you have several opponents opposing you in a group, appeal to part of the group with a suggestion that is in their best interests, but not in the best interests of the rest of the group. Select an idea which complements only those whom you are choosing to appeal to, but is repugnant to those who you are not. This will cause division and argument among them, because some will agree with you and others will not. They will no longer be united against you. Their common enemy, instead, they will turn on each other. The more suspicion you can cause between the members of the group, the less they will trust each other, and they will become consumed in the sudden distrust of each other more than their opposition of you. Seize the moment of victory, either to make an appropriate retreat from the resistance or to say something else which opposes the motives of the entire group in your best interests. If the ones you have appealed to do not simply warm to what you are saying a little more, at least there will be more inner division amongst the group anyway. Precept 26. Make your moves based on when the objects of your desire become most available to be taken. Do not hesitate when the opportunity arises. Never violate the golden rule in your acquisition of what you desire. If you have to violate the golden rule, then there is no real opportunity. Bear in mind, however, that when the moment seems appropriate on account of others who expect what you will do from knowing what you desire, that becomes one of the best moments to seize upon it, for they will not be prepared for you to do so. Precept 27. Become a natural. At first, you will need to use a piece of paper and a pen or a computer to plan out the ways in which you will use the methods described here. But soon enough, with practice, they will become so natural that no preordained planning will be required to use them. They will become as comfortable and natural as riding a bicycle, provided your brain is healthy enough to support the effort required. In life, situations come up which inspire desire in you in the blink of an eye. How can you plan for this? You cannot. Therefore, you must be practiced in this methodology as soon as possible to start realizing your positive dreams in a spiritually positive way, or else you are no spiritual master. Precept 28. Become a calculator. With many mental calculations, you can win over the objects of your desire through clever tactics and strategy. Without calculating, your mind is empty of penetration. Of your chances of achieving victory in life are all the more lessened. Precept 28. Become a calculator. With many mental calculations, you can win over the objects of your desire through clever tactics and strategy. Without calculating, your mind is empty of preparation, so your chances of achieving victory in life are all the more lessened. Examine the situations that face you as accurately and expediently as you can, for as much relevance as you can handle. The outcome of your desired course of action will become clearly apparent to you. Practicing this over and over will make this completely natural. In so doing, the volume of your ability to calculate will increase. That concludes part 1. In part 2 of Attaining Spiritual Mastery, we will explore the various means you need to prepare in order to become successful in spiritual mastery, as well as further tactics and strategies.